Hello there everyone, it's Mark3 and welcome to me staring into the light. Alas, the light is behind a door, I will never get through here. The open button is a lie, it's off as you can see, I'm just stuck in here. Yeah, well, welcome to a random video I suppose you could say. Right. I should probably be doing something. Right, so welcome to Outpost Infinity Siege. I think this game is called, if I recall correctly. I am already doing things slightly wrong, but this game actually allows me to tab out. Yes, Outpost Infinity Siege. So I did a video last Monday going, I think I'm getting over this now, I'm getting back into the saddle, and then I actually managed to delete 2 videos. At this point I've only told Clinton and Ilkari of one that I was aware of last time we played together. I managed to accidentally delete 2 videos, and so I've had 2 games to wind back, and yeah, that kind of set me back into the darkness again. Which is why the light is behind the door. It's not in here with me. No, the light is that way. No. And then I picked up this game, which is also kind of why I also am making this video. I said to Ilkari, basically, I bought Outpost Infinity Siege. I think I might have made a mistake, but we were busy doing recording for Riftbreaker at the time, so it's like I didn't exactly clarify on that. It's like, why was this game a mistake? Yes, it's got tower defense. You like tower defense. Wait, I've not really mentioned that much on the channel. Ilkari knows I like tower defense. I like base building. This game's got a bit of that. I like taking my base with me. This game's got a bit of that. I was always a bit unsure though, because this game, my system struggles with it sometimes, but it's honestly been a lot more stable than I thought it would be, and it's been more stable than the demo I originally played way back actually indicated it might be. So you know. Also, I'm kind of an in for penny, in for a pound situation. I've test run one of my nodes on the map because I've also been playing this game like a loot goblin, pretty much. That's why I said this game might have been a mistake for me to pick up, because I've already clocked like 50 hours on it in my first week. Part of that was at times when I couldn't have been recording, but part of that has been times when I could have been recording, and it's like, oh, I'll just do one area. Oh, I'll do another area. It's like, you know, it's had that kind of effect on me. I do apologise. Yeah. That said, though, if you actually want me to go back and play through the story and stuff, I would be okay with starting a new save file as well, which kind of shows I'm still mixed up slightly. But yeah, honestly, because I'm trying to get materials and things, I've been doing every node, and so every node's done. I'm building up things. This area I'm not confident in. It recommends an outpost of strength like 12,000. My outpost strength is currently like 50,000, but it's actually got a massive ammo feed problem because of that. It's weird. This game is a bit odd. Oh god, did I just step my chair's stands? I felt my chair give way in a way it's not meant to. Oh dear. Oh well, I might need a new chair sooner rather than later. Right. Let me just quickly refine a bit of power here, because my material storage is doing really good now. That's also why I've been farming like a loot goblin, because, you know, gather resources and supplies for what will inevitably be a clash of some kind. Okay, so I have got, in this deployment, 3 objectives left to show, which is why I kind of started recording here. I will be jumping around though to cut and fill, especially like the random looting bits, because as I said, I'm looting nearly everything I can do. I've got a major objective, which is a suburban supermarket, so it's got a different marker as you can see. I've got one minor objective left, which will be just a little random encounter basically. I could spend power on any of these that doesn't have like a rare blueprint or something in it, just to insta-loot it. So that's one of the reasons you want to get a good power on this. You don't have to do all these, you can skip them to get reduced rewards, but you still get rewards for it, and still get to pick a perk card to apply to your stacks that are building up towards the 3rd encounter, which I've got for this video, which is going to be Liberation Day. Oh, sorry, no, not Liberation Day. Yeah. Darn you, orange one. Recovery Day. Yeah. So, the structure of this in tour mode is you've got exploration days as you roam around. You can't backtrack over yourself, which is why these panels are going here, there, and everywhere. I'm following the routes available on the map to visit as many places as I can. And then, because the enemy moves into areas you've been to, you can't backtrack. But then I go back to where all the supplies I've been looting are being stashed, and I have to protect them while they send in a fleet to lift out with the supplies I wanted to withdraw and take back to base with me. And I have to hold off the attack, which varies depending on all of these, and also depending on how much value there is in what I'm trying to pull out as well. So, yeah. I've deliberately been trying to avoid things that buff the enemies too much. I've got like 2 enemy buffs actually active, I think, in this one because I'm not confident. Despite my base's overwhelming firepower, it has many guns. I just can't feed the guns, which I will show you in a moment. Though, admittedly, load times are also a bit on the long side as well. Again, I think that's just my system related. I don't know. You can tell I'm waffling and trying to get a feel for things, can't you? I usually do hit the burble switch pretty hard when I'm trying to get into the mode of playing / recording combination. Especially when I'm not feeling quite there and I'm trying to get there. I notice I tend to babble a lot when I'm in that stage, and also, yes, I am just taking a sip of drink because... Honestly, this game has kind of surprised me a bit. The demo didn't prepare me for how it's turned out actually having it.
The area's crawling with envoy hierarchs. Taking them out will reveal their supply stash.
We're detecting a stash in that nearby crater. Try to avoid the harmful xenium if you intend to retrieve it.
Once they see you, they'll swarm you.
Don't touch the ground. Look for something to stand on.
Okay, that was a bit of a palaver. We just had multiple things happening, and as you can see, my cannon turrets are picking off some stuff that are nearby. I can see a bunch of them are actually down and out of ammo. Also, yeah, I've got a fleet of little roving bots to help me out. Just because I mentioned ammo supply issues, I've actually I'm low on materials because I have to find it all. I've actually got the autocannons limited to not... Oops. I know what I'm doing, I swear. I've got them limited to only go after medium-sized targets. I've actually disabled them targeting small things. I will reload you. Yes. Just get around here. I mentioned my fortress has some flaws. But yeah, these guys ignore the small targets. They go after anything medium size at a bigger distance. And this one's already found someone to shoot at. What are you shooting at? Let me through, please. My base is atrocious. It's a mess. There we go. Right. Oh, the miniguns just opened up on something. Speaking of, the miniguns are almost out as well. Oh, this base is in need of a major resupply. Let me through, please. Thank you. I should probably show you why I'm having some issues. And I admit, I've not actually rearmed my guns this whole time. Well, I've not rearmed the small guns. I've rearmed the autocannon several times. Looks like, yeah, some of the base machine gun turrets are actually down as... Yeah, they're all down. What are you even shooting at? What the heck is that thing? It's dead. Okay. So a new enemy type, and I didn't know what it was. Okay. Right. So yeah, this is my base. I said the game recommends 12,000. My base is ranked at 50,000 in terms of firepower, and this is why I've got many guns on it. Many of which seem to be out of ammo. I will actually skip that in the video, I think, just rearming everything. But,
Blizzard outbreak.
Oh, bloody
Operative
hell.
mobility reduced.
Blizzard makes you more vulnerable to cryo weapons. The enemy does sometimes have element effects on their attacks, but I've not really upgraded the enemy weapons capabilities, which applied the whole time through. Okay, seriously, what are you shooting at? What are you... Oh, I see what you're shooting at. Hey, buddy! I don't have autocannons on the rear arc of my base, and that's causing a problem, it seems like. Okay, seriously, what are you shooting at? Okay, you're hitting a tree. Right, what I... Seriously, dude. That one?
The blizzard has ended.
Okay, cool. This, by the way, is one of the things that honestly kind of surprised me. I didn't pick up from the demo I played what it's like, but you can modify your weapons extensively. Because basically you've got a morphing tech in your guns, which you can then modify with different things. Like right now I've got multiple Zen presets with multiple buffs going in to modify its power and things like that. For example, I've actually made this a hybrid weapon. This is...
Blizzard outbreak.
Again?
Operative mobility reduced.
Ah, shut up. So, I've got rapid fire, basic attack for, like, you know, any kind of general stuff. It is modified with unstable, which slightly varies its damage a bit, but overall makes it a bit more powerful. It's got checkmate, so it does extra damage to things that are low on health. And it's got close quarters combat, so the closer I am to something, the more powerful it gets as well. So that's kind of what this thing does in its base mode. Second slot, I've actually put a high caliber round into it, which has multiply.
The enemy has spotted you. Pursue us. Incoming.
Incoming. Yeah. As you get more active in a zone, longer you've been in, the enemy starts to get aggressive and send like these aggressive big cat-like robots after you. I think they're coming from that direction over there. Oh no, that's another one of those big guys. Yeah. As I said, this is for dealing with anything nasty, especially at range. It's got multiplier, which means it does more damage based on how far the bullet flies. It's got surprise, so it does extra damage on a full health opponent. And it's got apex predator, which means if I do a headshot, it applies stacks of piercing. And a stack of piercing takes 1% of the enemy's maximum health per tick for like a second. So it's like additional damage on top of that, especially against more powerful opponents. But I've also got a bunch of modifiers just stacked in from my exploration work. Oh, here they come. Yeah, the base is doing its job. So this thing's like meant for hunting bigger targets. Anything bigger, nastier that I'd rather not be close up to anyway. Like that guy over there, for example. Missed. Those extra picks were from Apex. Oh, that was a headshot. There it goes. And then third is just like a crowd clearer, up close and personal. I'm not really settled on a third yet, but this one just fires like a big energy ball kind of thing. It's a bit weird, this one, but it's got increased area effect. Anything it hits gets pulled nearby opponents towards it. And it's also got checkmate, so make it do extra damage to anything that's weakened already. So, yeah, same kind of thing. Also missing some armor. When did I lose some armor? There we go. My base is lighting something up again. The thing is, though, remember, base has ammo feed problems. That's one of its big issues right now. It doesn't have any kind of automated ammo feed. It's all hand-loaded, which sucks a little bit, but you know. Something I can do, though, if I've got resources, is... I've realised machine guns can be upgraded to Gatling guns. Not only does it make its rate of fire better, it also gives it a free reload, basically. So I'll be doing that. And yeah, just leave me with this. I didn't realise my base would need upkeep for literally the first part of my recording, so yeah. I'll spend a few minutes on this. Okay, I think I'm about ready to go out and actually do some stuff. One thing that's slight drawback is these things don't really register properly when they've got cargo in them. They always spawn in flat. But these are actually Guardian units, which I have retrofitted with repair turrets that I've salvaged from just exploring. And also cargo carriers, because at some points I was getting so much loot in some of the POIs, I literally couldn't send it out for shipment fast enough, and I just didn't have any kind of space anywhere. You are... yeah, you see what I mean? It's flat pack, but this one is acting like it's not. And then we just change the inventory and it updates it properly. So yeah, I've got supplies. Now I'm keeping those artillery shells. I might use them in the third map. Anyway, right. So our outpost, mobile defensive position. Yes. This is the central core. Lose this, lose the base, and we fill this up with salvaged materials to send back to our resistance headquarters, because we are resisting the AI who has risen up and taken over humanity and is basically in control of the orbital ring and all the orbital weaponry, which is why we can't really stay static for too long when we're out engaging their forces. Yeah, this is the enemy up here. Yeah. So we load the container, it goes up onto the conveyor network, which goes back to the previous place. And then that's also why extraction has to be done under fire, because massive movement of aircraft gets noticed and stuff like that. So these guys are now basically sorted out. I've got personal supplies, sorting loot, repair drones are just helping out where possible. They can actually, oddly enough, the repair drones can actually heal me if I take health damage. It's quite interesting, so it's well worth looking for just on those grounds. Personal health is something that's a bit of an issue. You see that sort of... look, the main map is actually tracking on my camera. This is the visual boundary of my area. If I go outside this, the enemy orbital thing notices me and fun things start to happen. So I don't want to do that. I'm also kind of wary of these big guys because they have big guns on them, that's the thing. Oh, they're sentry spiders. Right. Mechanic unit patrols the sounds of the alarm should it discover any of our allies. So basically, I think this calls in chase units if I get discovered. They're all over the place. I've never seen those before this map, actually. This is the first time coming into them. Anyway, radar pulse. Let's get that going. You can see what I mean, loot goblin. Ugh. Eliminate the envoy followers. Ah, so that's it? Oh, the guy that I shot back there was actually a target. Okay. Unfortunately, he's behind a fence. I don't think I'll hit him. No. Now you can see why I modified this weapon in this particular way, because it is... the rapid fire mode actually reduces the basic performance of the weapon. But I mentioned the weapon was surprising me before. Let's go and show you a little bit. So, as you can see, I've got slots. I've got different helmets, gloves, armor. They have different effects depending on which version you got. For example, my boots give me double jump. Very useful, by the way, for exploration in general. My vest grants me a stack of survival. The game is also very good with tooltips because it notes at the bottom what survival does as well. Which grants, for 5 seconds after I take damage, I get 5% boost to my move speed, in particular. So that one I don't really notice much, but it's a thing. My scan gloves, because I'm a loot goblin, I'm using these. I pulse the scan with my outpost, but that is fixed range around my outpost. The outpost isn't always central to the area. So things can be outside its pulse range. So you've got to use other means to try and find stuff. You look around, or you can use a portable scan device, which is fairly good. The weakest scanner is in the scan gloves, but that one is actually rechargeable. It recharges by itself after 30 seconds. And because I've got rarer ones, you can actually have 2 charges stored. So, you know, stuff like that. And then weak points. Hitting a weak spot triggers an electro explosion every 2 seconds. So, yeah. It encourages me to be more careful. And then I've got the basic core gun, which is 3 slots for things. Each one can have 3 modifiers attached to it. You can get more of those. Also has a basic attack buff, and then you can change the barrels, change the sights, you can change the stocks, you can put an underbarrel modifier, and all of these, as you can see, they're applying different bonuses to the weaponry as well. So the weapons are actually highly flexible. In my case, I've taken heavy barrels, so it's taken the rapid fire basic Zen attack, the first one, and actually turned it into a harder hitting one at the cost of a slower rate of fire. But because it's a rapid fire Zen in the first place, that's actually made it more controllable and responsive for me, while also making it more efficient flat out. That's my efficiency mode, basically, using that one. I want to kill you, I think. Your weak point's on the back, isn't it? Yes, it is. Okay, so that was a warning. If I plink those guys and I'm within range for it to realise, it will start to lock onto me. Speaking of... Yeah, I misjudged the bullet drop slightly there. It's fine, it's fine. One weakness of the game, I suppose you could say, is that these things are very much a point of interest generation style. They tend, so it's quite clustered. If you find one of these supermarkets, they're all going to be basically the same layouts. There is some variation in loot positions as well. He was outside my effective range, that's why he was taking a bit to go down. But yeah.
Blizzard outbreak. Operative mobility reduced.
The maps do remix loot points a lot. There's not enough variety, I think, honestly. That's one of the weak points of this game. So yeah, anytime you come across a map which happens to have a supermarket in it, the supermarket has always been this one so far. So the shelves and exact loot content vary, but the layout does not. Honestly, I think the game could have done with more of a variety in this, but at the same time, the game's kind of focus is really the Outpost and stuff like that. But the loot is also why I don't have automated ammo loading yet, because I just don't have the parts to even make an ammo loader. It is why I'm going all in on this particular... I saw you there. There we go. Let's pulse. Yeah. As you can see, the hand is a slot. I can use it to pick up an extra item of any type, no matter what size. But yeah, I'm just trying to gather materials to try and get some extra stuff sorted out. But I am having to... All of it's useful, basically. All of it can be used or sold or traded for stuff. It all varies. Let's just slam this straight in here. There we go. For example, to build any of the turrets, I need turret control modules, I need turret bases, I need the actual barrel parts. We're literally scavenging for every piece of equipment we can find as we go. And that's part of how the bases are coming together. That's all my individual stuff. This is my mid-sized stuff. Because I've got so many of these little support drones with me, I'm just getting into the habit of like using them to pre-sort my loot before I decide what I can actually transfer back with me. Basically, if I got a stack of something, then I'll transfer it. Alright, that's gold, that can go straight in there. This is a rarer thing. Danger is approaching. What danger are you talking about? Avoid being detected by sentries, 0 out of 4. Remaining chasers, 12. Oh, so there's 12 of those panther bots. That's another weakness. They sometimes get stuck. Thank you, 30mm guns. Right. Yeah, I feel like my base layout doesn't exactly encourage ammo efficiency on some of these weapon systems, I must admit. Okay, so objective is apparently to avoid being spotted by sentries too much. don't think that one's scalable. I can just get up on that roof for a vantage point, actually. That's fine. I will, however, use some power to scavenge.
Warning. Blizzard outbreak. Operative mobility reduced.
Yeah, sometimes it's just such a push to get enough power because it takes power to move between areas as well as to auto-loot. You can refine at a rate of 10 to 1 raw materials to get power. But then you only really have a few viable sources. Why is there a cabinet out here? I've never seen a cabinet out here before. Also, it's very... Is it? Can't interact with it. That's weird. Don't know why that's there. Oh, wait. Now, that must be the supply cache it's talking about in terms of, like, followers. Anyway. Most things that you can scavenge using energy, you can also scavenge for fuel. That's another thing I like about this game. A lot of stuff which has an interaction option that has an alternate interaction option you can use instead. Usually, like for doors, with like you could lockpick, or you can use certain types of keycards, or you can sometimes just use power to burn the lock out. In this case, I can use power to harvest this, and this is a way to build power because it costs 25, but it gets me 300, so that's like 50 extra material back from a huge wreck. Large wreck is still net positive. Anything below a large wreck, though, is really scraping the barrel, though, and it doesn't give you any net gain, apart from converting materials back into power. Sorry, power back into materials and vice versa. You know, just moving the sliders back and forth is basically what it does. Okay, we've got ourselves a base. Though another thing I like about this game, and part of why I've been into it, is it's actually well presented, as you can see. Its graphics aren't bad at all.
Blizzard outbreak. Operative mobility reduced.
There's a lot of blizzards in this area. Give me a pulse in general. Nothing on the ground floor. Let's move upstairs. Nothing up here. There is a spare broken missile, cannons. Yeah, because of this is deep in an exploration, there's also a lot of modifiers going on to, like, I can find extra gear, I can find better gear. Those are some of the choices I've picked along the way. So that is modifying how much and what kind of loot I'm getting. Speaking of, hi. Oh, wrong button, sorry. Hi. There we go. What can I say? I like this weapon. I really do. It's because I've tailored it to what I'm trying to do with it more than anything else. But I've now done enough, so at this point I can choose, if I'm so inclined, to end this exploration. But loot. There's loot. There's so much loot to be had. Yeah, so much more loot to be had. So I'm not going to be ending exploration at that. Oh, no, 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 no. Especially since I need it all for upgrading my blooming fortress. Especially the orange tier stuff and purple tier. That's kind of what it's needed. Some you can fabricate back at base from lower tier components, but some stuff like the weapon barrels, you can trade for them sometimes on the if a trader has some in stock, but in general you have to find them. And that's what I need for my ammunition auto-loading. I want the guns to be able to sort themselves out. Hello, Hunter. Goodbye, Hunter. Yeah, see what I mean? Those guys have got stuck up there. Yeah. The AI in this game is probably one of the weaker points about it. It's definitely built around the... it's built around the whole base defense, tower defense kind of thing.
Blizzard outbreak.
What is with the blizzards in this place? Jeez. It's like the map's trying to kill me or something, but the enemy's not really using cryo weapons. Oh dear. Yeah, so the AIs are a bit dumb sometimes. Some enemies are more aggressive trying to find you. But those guys stuck up there, that was literally just a pathing issue. They just don't know how to get around certain obstacles sometimes. Sounds like the cannons have found something to shoot at. Right, so Here's something else, and a reason why I keep diving into these things to check. You can find these comm stations, spend a little bit of power. Oh look, there's more chasers coming in. Spend a bit of power, and you get a modifier, which adds to your stack of modifiers as you go through this particular deployment. Thing is, activating this can actually trigger and increase the threat of these chaser swarms coming after you, which has literally just happened, so I'm just going to do this because this one doesn't buff enemies directly. It's a low tier one. All assault components gain 3% increased attack rating, which means my weapons on my fortress do more damage. But it's also increasing the threat from stuff chasing after me as well, because the enemy's more aware that there's something out here. And that's basically what it boils down to. It's like risk versus reward. What do I think I can handle? Backpacks full? It's not. Also, yes, welcome to Diablo-style inventory management, which I appreciate, but at the same time, it's actually a bit of a pain as well. Go down there. Drop down there. By the way, the game isn't paused while I'm doing this. The enemy can quite happily walk up to me and shoot me in the face while I'm doing that. I also don't like these lockers too much either, because I have to open them and then I have to interact to get the individual things as well. But it's all useful to a less or greater extent. Yep, that was one of my cannons firing again. But yeah, this is also part of the stuff I'll be skipping over as well, so it's like, I'll bring you back in if something more interesting happens, but for now, leave me to my looting. I am the loot goblin. Aha! I am here for your shiny gubbins. Ooh, fuel. You know, I've never actually harvested anything with fuel. I've just been sending it back to base. Maybe I should actually keep some of that around with me as well. Might be useful. You know, I'd probably actually be quite a bit safer if I literally just brought these guys along with me. These guys are little followers. They have their own ammo stacks. They can come with various weapons. But they can be commanded to follow me, and as long as I'm on like even ground and stuff, they have no problem with that. Wait, no, that's a full item. I want to jam that into the retrieval. Pyro grenade gloves, portable gloves that shoot pyro grenades. So yeah, it gives me, instead of the scan, it gives me an AOE firebomb basically. As I said, there is some interesting stuff around here, depending on what you wanted to try and do loadout wise. But yeah, also stash that rocket launcher because that stacks up to 5. Yeah, that's going to be fine like that. Oh, I've got this in my hand. Put that away. Am I stashing you in the medium one at all? I am not. Anything I want to remove from here? No, but if I'm prioritizing blue tier, these guys are actually fairly common, so I will get more of these flat out. I'm having to triage my inventory. This has got 3 out of 5, so that was getting close to a full stack, so I will actually jam that one into the retrievable hub. But as you can see, so much space has been taken up by stuff that has no stacking options. I think the control module might be something I genuinely need right now. Now that I'm thinking about it. Could be. Then again, it could just be me misremembering stuff. Who knows? Jam you in, jam you in. Jam you in. There we go. And as you can see, space is filling up quite steadily. Also, yeah, equipment doesn't stack at all. It's always like 4 slots for a piece of equipment. Personal. Yeah, I mentioned data cables were pretty common. That's because data cables are actually dropped by those panther-like robots that chase you. Along with tech points, that's also a common drop from them. Okay, so I mentioned there are options. So if I had 2 different types of keyboard, key card, I could probably just hack this open with one of those immediately. I'm actually carrying a bunch in one of my spare robots back there. So I probably have one of these, or I can choose to spend power to burn the lockout. Alternatively, Apparently there are weapon mods and things you can use to increase damage to doors to help blast through. Or you can do things like find explosives and try and blow it up. But if you physically break these doors, it actually acts like one of those terminals like trying to draw in a pursuit, because the enemy notices and they come after you. So yeah. EXP injector. I'm currently on Faye, which is the protagonist. Literally has a skill called plot armor, which means he can't be lost in an operation if the operation fails. There are other characters I could use and level up. I'm actually actively considering switching to someone else for a different skill set. But if they fail an operation, plot armor is something only.
Operative mobility reduced.
Thank you. Plot armor is something only Faye has. So anyone else, they risk permanent loss. And if I'm not sure about the outcome, like this one, I'm not entirely sure if I'll be successful on the third mission, because I've been wary of this area flat out before I figured out how far I could push the actual base defense lines. So I've got a decent chance of getting through this one, but once you've chosen and locked in what you're trying to bring back, you don't really have any choice. You can't just decide, you know what, no, call me out now. You set that before you take on the waves at the end of it. Yeah, missed the first shot, second one was on point. As for these guys, I don't know what's on with these guys. I'm not.
The blizzard has ended.
Hello. Oh, here they come. Hi. And yes, there are different scope types. Some of which are fairly useful, some of which are just not. Where did that come from? Oh, hi. To be honest, these guys is actually why I've got a rapid fire, relatively cheap option as my first weapon type on this. Also, I will refine some materials to power because my material storage is full. It has been for a while. That is on a cooldown, by the way. I can't just spam that very easily. But yeah. You choose, and then it gives you an overlay of like how long you have to hold out, and the longer you hold out, the stronger the enemies that come after you when you choose into the stuff. And honestly, rare stuff is more valuable, and therefore you have to take more risks to extract it. Anyway, there is a cap though. Extraction time and level of threat caps out after a while, so beyond a certain point, it literally doesn't matter if you take more. You just have to keep on going. Where the hell's that coming from? Oh, hi. But yeah, spiraling back around once again to gun customization. I have a scope on because I'm using this one as in a kind of designated marksman role, especially with that second weapon slot. Different scopes are available. They do different things. Like there is a reflex sight. That's a locked door with a lot of health, but this has a control pad around here somewhere for it. I'm not quite sure where, because that does also vary. Let me pulse. One of the other reasons why I keep that on me. There it is. Hi. I heard that. Yeah. Ooh, I stood in that and it took a lot of damage. And yes, I have unlocked a better armor plate. I've just not really got to the stage where I'm readily manufacturing them. So, yeah. That's open, which gives me access to a vintage comic, a digital keycard, which would have worked on that door back in the supermarket, and a new set of scan gloves, +3. Blue tier though, so they've only got one charge instead of 2. Worth noting, by the way, defense is reducing active damage taken. Armor is basically a shield bar. It doesn't recharge, you have to recover with plates, but it's a buffer before your health starts taking damage, and health is harder to recover. Okay, I'm spying back and forth, just demonstrating different aspects of the game, aren't I? So, armor plates, It's honestly really good to have armor, to the point where the game assigns a combat value score to operatives based on their equipment. And it does actually value armor bonus higher than a defensive bonus in that score. Because armor is just, it blocks the defense being needed, effectively. It's ablative armor. Quite literally. Now then, there was, if I recall, something around here. Let's take a look-see from my command view. I'm being shot at by something, but there is also a sentry drone on the other side of the crater. Right. There it is. Not sure where those shots are coming from though. Oh, it's coming from a pursuer. Right. The moment I heard that growl, it's like, oh, I know what that is. But yeah, anyway. Okay, I think there's a pursuer stuck around here somewhere. Don't see it anywhere though. Okay, right. Let's just drop into this crater, get the loot, and get moving. But yeah, I've mentioned efficiency a few times. Hi. AI pathing, slightly dodgy. I mentioned ammo efficiency a few times, and notice that as I change weapon mode, it is also quite markedly changing how many shots. So like 30 shots of basic, I've got 9 shots in the high caliber, and I've got 7 glowy balls I can spit out. Yeah, stuff like that happens as well sometimes. And that's because this is a universal power source, basically. That's our magazines for this thing. So how you modify the Zen affects things like ammo consumption. You can't really tell modifying in the field, but you can actually do it more in-depth if you get back to base. Back to base is better for modifying, but in the field you can modify if you are in need of. There is something up there, right. Also, there is a mantle system as well. If you're like part way up a lip, you can pull yourself up it. So that's something that is quite useful. Yeah, I'm at the point where I'm reflexively switching to high caliber when I scope in. It's like, I want to take a range shot. Better get the sniper bullet out. Though actually, ironically enough, oh, yep, there's the healing beam. Thank you. Yep. Yeah, so the beams to repair base buildings and stuff can for some reason heal humans. Oh, that was the tangent I was on, but I forgot about. Right. Ooh, strong 3. Nice. Yeah, okay. You can see I'm getting slightly sidetracked, can't you? So, I was on a tangent earlier about healing. Exploring is good because it gives you access to these guys, which you can mount on not just these guys, you can just swap out your machine gun turrets for this kind of stuff as well. If you have a portable turret piece, flat out, you can actually wield them yourself, if you are so inclined. And you can also like pull them out of them and mount them on a compatible units. Like, for example, I can put the healing piece on that because it's a small mount. I can't put the healing piece on one of these bigger ones because they're just too large. Same extension, I don't think... No, wait, no, I think I can put a single barrel 30mm on one of these smaller bases. I can't put a double barrel though because it's too large. So yeah, you can swap weapons around if you care to. Because these guys originally had machine guns, and I changed them out for the repair to barrels instead. just because it's useful. There's spare artillery shells and things, more artillery shells. You're the one with basic bits. Also a new glove I found this time out, which is automatically pick up items within 3 meters for 3 seconds. One charge, cooldown 10 seconds. Auto recovery glove. This might live in my backpack from now on, just because sometimes items have glitched through the floor, and if they're glitched slightly through the floor, I can't pick them up, and so they are lost to me. And yeah, these are all my keycards just sitting in here. So yeah, this game does have its problems. For sure it does. There's even one map that's glitched slightly and it has the base platform where the base sits raised, so it tends to glitch these guys through the floor a little bit. If they don't move, they'll be fine. But if you move them, they then fall into the void and get killed. And you can't access them while they're in that state because they're below the ground, as I mentioned. So yeah, the game has some issues. Enough to stop me playing it and enjoying it? Hell no. But it is something to be aware of going in. It's not perfect. But then again, what game is? Can't say that, can't slash that. Can't slash any of these, but these are purples. I want to send them off anyway. If I can. I mean, that one's already got 3 in there as is. I have some excess now going on. I will pull out the Greg banner. No, the Greg banner is more valuable and has lower stack capacity, so I will send that off. I will pull out 1,000 rounds of cryo ammo. I'm in the snow biome, so I'll pull that out and jam in cryo affinity 2, which means that my gun automatically has cryo affinity. And pursuit. Hitting an enemy weak point triggers a blunt strike, which inflicts an additional 50% hit on the point of the attack that cannot be a critical strike. So that's what pursuit does. It's an extra 50% damage boost on a hit to an enemy weak point. But I think that's also it for my loot. Yeah. And as you can see, this is also with my little cargo drones hauling a bunch of stuff around as well. Stash that in there. I might as well stash you in there. Also the extra ammo. I love being able to manufacture these things. They're very helpful. I mean, they'd probably be even more helpful if I had them with me and they would gun down anything that got close to, but still, yeah. Anyway, there's one more little bit to clean up in this area. Let's get my camera back on track. Pulse. Yeah, there's another bit around there with an underground bunker beneath it. There's also loose loot from all the pursuers and things that the base has been shooting at. Don't know what those green ones are over there. But yeah, there's still a little bit of cleaning up to do, but it's mostly tech points and stuff. I think I'll show this one just because it's something that you can come across in this. Sometimes it's out in the open, sometimes it's in a structure like it is here. But there are actually underground silos and things around the place. Well, lockpick through the door, first loot check. If loot's beyond a certain value, then yeah, you get locked doors and things like that. But sometimes you find things like this. And then you can just got a little loot room down below where someone's tried to hold out or something like that. Usually has a fair bit of equipment and stuff in it. What are you? Extra Titan Spike for free in command mode. Hey, free stuff is free stuff. Gimme. But yeah, I'll loot up and then we'll pick this up probably next mission, I think. Alright. One last bit on this map. The cabinet is available because that was the supply cache. I've never had the objective because the campaign has barely had me going after those guys. But let's have a look. See. The amount of supplies in this cache is absolutely boggling the mind. Yay! Right. Well worth the effort, that. Mind you, it was free. It unlocked after I hunted down enough of them, but still, that was the thing. I've also done the side objective to avoid getting found out by a bunch of stuff, so that's also a thing. got those. Just put my stuff away. Oh, I've got a full rack of tech points. I want to send those out if I can. Okay, so. That's technically what I want to hold back because it's got a partial stack, but I don't want to do that. I'll hold on to the electronic components actually and send in that stack of tech points. So, if I want to get out of here ASAP, if I'm not sure my base can hold, I can actually quick recover, spend a bit of power to do that, or I can do a regular recovery. The thing is, what happens is the recovery starts and then that alerts all remaining enemies on the map and they tend to mob your base up immediately, which I think is why quick recovery is an option. But that's absolutely fine. I don't care about the remaining enemies. Regular recovery is all we want. Up it goes. The warning light's going off. It gets... I think that one's meant to lift up, but it doesn't do it. And then, as you can see, there it goes. Yeah, and that's actually getting me more resources as well, because you get resources also from killing your opponents on this. So, that's done. There might be some more loot. I'll pulse to check. There is some more loot to get from what enemies came after me. But there can also be a small assault wave as well. When you finish these particular scouting missions, the game will warn you ahead of time when that is actually an issue though. So, it won't blindly happen. It will warn you before you... Well, as soon as you come into the... What are you shooting at? Did one of the pursuers get free? No? Okay. Yeah, the game actually tells you if there's a risk of this happening. And if it does happen, the actual objectives do tell you flat out, hey, you're going to get an attack wave coming in. It's only a minor attack wave though, it's not... Well, sometimes you do get some heavy stuff coming in, but as you do. Anyway, let's see. Because I completed the instant, you get this. You don't get those terminals, if there were any in the map, if you do a quick clear. So that's, again, a reason just to do it, just for that, because you get to pick more stuff out. So, resources picked up, manually gathered, increased by 30%. This is such a good one to have early on. Later on, like now, it's not super needed right now, especially because my resources are doing great. But you know how I was picking up from those huge wrecks 300 metal, 300 resource for 25 power spent? If I had this, it'd be 330 for 25 power spent. So this would make it much more efficient to scavenge for extra power reserves on maps, especially early on when you've only got your initial battery to start you out. But this late on, it's not really worth anything. Slow field. Enemies entering the X-boost field will be marked and slowed briefly. Also, this tends to stack. I think I've already got some stacks of something like this. Then lastly, we've got a risk incident, which is I'm not going to take, but I'm reading for you now as you can see it. Any enemy killed within the X field, which is, by the way, that blue ring around my base, that's a field generated by my base structures themselves, gives you gold equal to 0.5% of its maximum hit point value. However, enemies outside the X field have higher defense, and that means opening salvos from your guns will be doing less damage until the enemy gets into X field range. There are other sources of X field, like Titan spikes can actually independently create X field pockets further out. That's why Titan spikes are nice. Well, one of the reasons. But I think right now I just want that one slows all I want. Let's quick convert to power up. It'd be nice if there's a slider on this, but I have to click and press it. I'm just tapping enter to do that, just like dumping all of my material reserve into power reserve. And then I don't have to worry about power much in the next one. So the next one is a small one. 31. I actually picked up a card which reduces power, which is why it says minus 15. It should be like 46, this one, for me to go to it now. Or insta-loot it for 93. I will drop into a minor place. Note, by the way, it tells you what kind of stuff you might run into. Also says there's a high possibility of an enemy ambush going off, which is like the enemy attacking when you try to pull out, as I said before. Let us proceed. Yes. And we'll see a minor map, which tends to have like either fewer in number or smaller points of interest, like individual houses and things, rather than a bigger one like the supermarket being present. Though there was a really big one in an earlier map, which was like an entire research lab kind of thing. And then story missions also tend to have you wandering off away from your outpost, and they often have custom maps. No, wait. Actually, every story mission has had a custom map flat out. Yeah. Yeah, it's... Anyway. I'm also trying to give like a bit of a show of like why I've been drawn into this game and why I've spent so much time on it, to the point of getting distracted on it, honestly. As well as providing a bit of random content as well. Okay, let's see. We are here. My minion army is here. There's no sign of obvious glitching. We are good. The game's behaving itself while we're recording. Wow. Okay. Let's see. Oh yeah, this blue ring here, X field. That is the outer marker. If I go beyond that, the enemy orbital scanners will find me, and then fun things will happen. So yeah, don't do that. We've got a larger building and a house, and that's a small building. I think that those two are just ruins. Okay, I'm just looking around to see if I can identify visually what's going on. Yeah, there's a tower, which I figured out because I saw a small civilian drone moving around. You can shoot that down, then take it home as a piece of value loot. A couple of oranges, which might be barrels or key cards in that one. That usually has a barrel or something in it. And yeah, those are just ruins in the distance over there. Though, as I said, there is a range limit. There is a range limit, but in general, POIs are marked on your map with one of these icons anyway, and that it dulls out once you've been to it, so you know which ones you've been to as well. So yeah, the game does a good job of tracking where you've been exploration-wise, and letting you know that, hey, you've been over here, maybe you don't want to be here. Again, I'm just opening my door the other way, thank you. Anyway, something I did want to touch on briefly before I go wandering off. The game is always a little bit laggy for me when I first load into a map, so that's also why I'm taking a moment. These are Titan spikes, another defense/utility thing, which I've mentioned briefly in the previous area, but not really shown you yet. So these are actually technically a defensive structure. They provide an electric arc attack to things nearby. Kind of like a small Tesla coil, effectively. So you can use them without having to feed them ammo. They have limited range, but they fire for free. So why am I not using them in this particular mode? Because, well, honestly, they have another effect which I find more useful in these maps. So I've actually unlocked 2 upgrades, which I can set one of these ones. Double ammo capacity and attack speed. Now provides illumination around it as well. I've got some. That's where these ones are inside of doing. They're providing light. They also have the ammo and attack speed. Or electroshock doubles range and electrocution of damage. Now scales with core output. I actually designed these things thinking that their other mode helps these gun batteries, which I now believe is a mistake. So I won't be putting Titan spikes in here in the future. But this also means I've also got these spots primed and ready, I hope, to just slam autoloaders in so that they can auto-feed these turrets with ammunition. So, you know, either that or I just tear down the whole base and rebuild it from scratch, which I kind of need to do anyway because the base plate has expanded since I last built it. So, anyway, switch it back. This is charging mode. Sorry, yeah. This is the electric mode. This is when it's a defensive mode. It can attack things nearby and stuff like that. This mode, I've got them all in, is charge mode. Restores own ammunition and increased core output. I was misreading that And for a while I thought it would like help with the ammo supply on these turrets, which it doesn't. That was me being silly. Also, increases core output. One of these adds +10 to your outpost's core output, which is up here. Or, if it's in charging mode, it actually gives +20. So, an extra 10 points. And it's going to electro mode. Electrocutes nearby enemies or provides energy to spikes in electro mode, boosting damage and range. So, these guys actually work together, kind of like the old prism towers in Red Alert Command & Conquer did. So, they can boost range and damage output. But core power is of interest because of this electric beam coming from my core to this nearby tree. Gatherable things that provide resources, if they are within the range of your X field, your base can passively gather them as a slow tick without spending any power. So it's kind of like an auto-harvesting area effect. It's slow, but just during the course of an exploration, it will trickle through and it'll gather a bunch of power. Like, my resources when I came in were almost empty, and I've already built up over 400 resources at this point just while I've been talking. So, you know, that kind of thing. It will gather anything that can provide resources, but it will not provide bonus materials. Like, for example, if I was to cut down a tree, I would actually get lumber for it, which is a crafting resource, which is quite useful. But if the base harvests it, I don't get that lumber.
Warning. Blizzard outbreak. Operative mobility reduced.
Actually, that's the thought. Blizzard outbreak. Right. Okay. Anyway, I guess this is also a point because there's stuff on here which I've not mentioned before. Core Tower has the ability to pulse 300 power into 300 resource into 30 power. It takes 2 minutes to recharge. What I've been using is the area scanner, which scans nearby for any lootable items. That is very helpful because it's got a massive range. It does cost you 2 power each time, which is actually quite affordable. But as I said, it doesn't always cover all of the map, or sometimes it's only like part of the map it's covered. Also, for 200 power, deal immense damage to any enemy within the X field. I've never actually used this one, but it does have a steep power cost. Noting, by the way, there is a version of this we can use on small power generators, which are these support structures. I've actually got 2 of them fitted in harder to reach locations, actually. I want to put those somewhere a bit more accessible, but this is like, I can use this one to convert 150 resources to 15 power, so same conversion rate, but they are on a separate cooldown individually compared to this main tower. So, you know, offers fast conversion. The generator can do that. This is actually my Guardian Fabricator, which needs access to the outside or a flat area to launch the Guardian into, where I can just spend resource to build a Guardian with a preset. That's the cargo one, 300, or they come with a machine gun, they come with an ice cryo gun, or they come with actually a 30mm cannon on the Punisher variant. But they have the same ammo restrictions as a basic turret model, so you know you have to keep them supplied. Then I've got the X-Bikes, all these walls are placed by me, all the armor's placed by me, all the turrets are placed by me, for better or worse. These things are actually exposed power batteries, which increase my base's power storage capacity by +5 each, you know. So you're building a mobile base as you go. Why am I explaining all this to you?
Blizzard outbreak.
Hello, Blizzard.
Operative mobility reduced.
The zone wants me to leave. I am going nowhere. That's because we've also got some modules in here which allow us to expand by building additional facilities by spending resources. Like all these Titan spikes I've built since I've started, which is why I'm at 12 out of 15 of these. I can build them off my base as well. They can be anywhere in the X field to help out. It's just that when the outpost leaves, they'll be lost, basically. Or I've been saving these up, but those terminals I've been accessing actually give you charges of like build a free version of these things whenever you want within range of your X fields.
Pursuers incoming!
Combat mode activated.
Blowing pursuers. I was talking here, darn it. Also, fun thing to note, by the way, windows. You can open them and just climb into your base. Yeah, sorry, I just found that amusing. Anyway. Yeah, so this is where part of the tower defense come in. Like, if you know where the enemy's coming from, you can put the defense around. It's very useful, especially on the final map, where you are in active tower defense mode. And anything, if you've got the materials, you can rebuild immediately. There's no cooldown on this. They are instantly deployed. You just have to select it, rotate it, and then choose where you want it. If I build these three ones on the base plate, by the way, which is like, this is the base plate, the orange mark here, and these are utility plates, the flooring, which can extend one tile further out. Anything I build on these can be carried with me. Like these walls, again, I built for extra protection as I've been going along. I really need those 30mm pointing in the rear arc. Ugh. Dang, I've been meaning to tear this base down and rebuild it for a bit now. So yeah, if I put an artillery formation down, if I had enough flat space, I could build it in the base and take it with me, but I can't. I could put down like the smaller artillery platforms, or some 30mm cannons and stuff like that, which I've built up for free. But I'm hanging on to those because, you know, resource is resource. At some point you're going to want it. And I've been waffling for several minutes now, so, you know, let's actually start getting active, shall we? Yeah, there's no mini-games. There's sometimes like a mini-game challenge, like a basketball game or something like that. This one in particular is like a bit of parkour, just climb your way up the tower. I suck at leading my shots, by the way, just so you know. But, yeah, you just climb the tower, get the stuff, and...
That was too close. Better take a breather.
Also worth noting, by the way, the English version, it's got mistranslations galore. The translation isn't too close to the actual on-screen text. A new high-powered sight. Better than my current one, actually. Weak point bonus increased by 2%. Attack is much higher. Also grants a bonus to critical chance. Sorry, crit bonus. Yeah. My crit chance is 102%. So basically any hit I do is guaranteed to be a crit unless they've got some kind of resistance to it. Thing is, though, my currently equipped gear, there's got these little shield symbols. I've insured those, so if I actually fail this operation, I can get those back. I get those back. That's what the insurance does, though it only works one time. You have to rebuy it every time you want to use it. Can be a lifeline, especially if you've got an operative you're not sure about, or equipment you don't want to lose. Like, I don't want to lose my gun, for example. I could swap out my barrel. Sorry, not my barrel, my scope for the more powerful scope straight away, and in fact, I think I might. It means that the other scope will go into the general loot, which will be fine, because it's still insured, even if it's been packed away and ready for shipment back to base. So if I do fail, I will still get it back. Also, I forgot to unload after coming into this map from the previous area. Vintage comics, vintage movie, anything else down here? No. You can see why I like the scan gloves, right? It lets me just check, is there anything else here? Press the button. The fact it's got charges and cooldowns means that I can't spam it, but I can use it quite regularly. And that's it for this place. Right. My exposed field is huge at this point. Also worth noting, though, by the way, this is the last map location, flat out, before I hit the final mission. And as soon as you enter the recovery day, a timer starts, and the enemy will attack once the timer is over. There's no way to stop that. So, if I'm gonna do anything, I need to make sure that my base is ready for combat, like all guns reloaded, any upgrades I want to make are made, stuff like that, before I extract from this map. It would be nice as well if these guys could remember where they were, but they just travel alongside the base when it's in motion. Just have to figure out which one's which. Oh, yep, sometimes there's a graphical glitch on that as well. But yeah, I'll sort these guys out and get back to scavenging, so I've kind of shown you what's going on here.